Well, joining me now to discuss what could end up being a defining issue for the next government are two students from Trinity College Dublin. Roisin Bradley is with the Pro-Life campaign and Emer Sparks is with the Repeal the 8th campaign. Public opinion now obviously is very big at the moment, but let's look back to the same-sex marriage referendum, which was a huge draw for young voters. When you're looking now at the different parties involved, how closely are you looking at their support for repealing the amendment?
Well, I mean, I think it's very important, and in the context of the last referendum, I mean, that was driven mostly by young people, so young people will be deciding the fate of this referendum as well. And I think it's important to have an unbiased debate and have an open and honest debate and really tease out the issues and make sure that what we're putting into legislation is what's best for women in this country.
So you are maybe looking at any kind of opinion polls or any manifestos to see who is supporting, who is not?
Exactly, because it is a divisive issue and it is something that all voters, I think, will be keeping in mind when they vote.
Well, Emer, Labour are so far the only party 100% confirming that they are going to repeal it and they want to hold a referendum, with, say, the left-wing parties, Sinn Féin, Social Democrats and the smaller parties also showing some favour. Is it a red line issue for you, though?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the Abortion Rights Campaign actually did some research on this, and a lot of TDs came back saying that they weren't hearing enough about the 8th Amendment on the doors, and the people who were making the most noise actually were the pro-life people. So I think it's up to us, because I know a lot of my peers and those closest to me definitely think that this is a red line issue, but you really have to speak to your TD about it.
OK, well, as I was saying, public opinion seems to be really generating the most during this election campaign. But there is also public opinion on rape, and we have I should say, on abortion. And we have the latest Red C poll here, which says that it's commissioned by News Talk Radio. 76% of the Irish electorate agree with abortion in the case of fatal fetal abnormality, and 78% in cases of rape and incest. And a smaller majority of 59% support abortion where the woman is suicidal, and 41% support any circumstances decided by the mother. Roisin, should people be denied their democratic say through referendum just because it might not agree with what you're saying?
I think that's an interesting question, but to be honest, in the current climate, how accurate would a referendum be? Because I disagree with Emer in the sense that I think we're not hearing both sides. I really genuinely think there is media bias on this issue, and as I said before, it's so vitally important that the Irish public know what they're being asked to vote for before a referendum is put to them.
But if there's media bias, surely then it's up to the public to be able to disseminate that and say, right, well, show me all the facts, put it in a referendum and I'll decide.
I don't necessarily think it's the public's duty. It's
the public who are having children, it's the public who are needing abortions, it's the public, it's women who are going overseas to have the abortion. So surely it's up to them to decide through referendum.
It's up to journalists and TV programmes to give information to the people. That's their job, that's what they should be doing. It's not up to the public to demand information, they should be given it.
But I can't change the decision. If I'm putting out the right information, it's still not going to change the legislation. Emer, let's take the other side of the story.
I think that slightly infantilises the Irish population. I think that in such an important issue as this, basically one of women's fundamental human rights, I think that many people will educate themselves about it. And I think regardless of where the information is coming from, we should be allowed the opportunity to decide on how we feel about it.
Do you think that repealing it is the first step to all-out abortion on demand? Is that the worry?
I don't think that's the worry. I think that's the fact. And I mean, people who are part of the coalition to repeal the 8th Amendment, I mean, spokespeople and conveners have all come out in the past week or two and said that this is what we want. This is what we're campaigning for. We want abortion on request. And as Emer just put it, they think it's a fundamental human right for a woman to be able to decide. So I don't think they're making it a secret that they want abortion on request.
And is that what you're looking for, abortion on request, or is it for those who have fatal fetal abnormality, or there might be some serious genetic defect, or there might be suicide?
Well, yeah, personally, I would support any legislation that would allow for the women of Ireland to have free, safe and legal abortion. But I do think that it's an incremental process. I mean, if you look at the draft legislation that Labour have proposed, it's a nowhere near allowing every woman to have, as the pro-life people would say, abortion on demand. I think, first of all, we really need to get to the point where women who have been raped or have fatal fetal abnormalities can be allowed to have abortion in their own country.
That's a difficult area to go down, I suppose, because then you're looking at whereabouts in pregnancy that would have to take place, and you have to prove it all. But surely, maybe we could just look at, as has been proposed in the referendum, rather than just being yes or no, asking the public, that maybe there is a grey area, maybe there is a third option where you might have amendment, but with different restrictions.
Well, we're talking about equality, and we're talking about the type of society that we want to build, especially as young people, and the voice of young people advocate a society of equality, inclusivity and a welcoming society. And part of that is the right to life. I mean, without the right to life, all other rights are meaningless. Emer's talking about fundamental human rights. That we're talking about two people, mother and baby, and the 8th Amendment cares for both. And as a society, we should care for both too.
A final word to you on that.
I disagree. I don't think that it deals with equality. I also think that the 8th Amendment was introduced at a time before either of us could vote on it. And as the Minister for Justice, Alan Shatter, said during his time as Minister, it was made at a time where women were not considered equal citizens. So I think that to deny women the choice in something as fundamental as their reproductive rights.
It sounds like you're both going to be tackling certainly those who are knocking on your doors about this issue. Thank you very much indeed for both of you for joining us this evening.